Hello, everyone. This is Tiffany Castleberry with Unchained Life. And I pray that everybody had a wonderful, merry, happy Christmas. And I just wanted to get on here. This will be the last podcast of the year. Oh, I cannot believe this year has gone by so fast. I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but that's how I feel. I feel like it's gone by so super fast. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like we went from what was it? Probably like March, April to the end of the year in like a split second. Like, I don't even understand how that happens. It's kind of crazy. Like I really have probably for the last 2 months specifically, I've just kind of sat here and gone, where has the year gone? Like I feel like it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Okay, beyond that. So I wanted to talk about my year. I wanted to talk about ups and downs and changes and just whatever comes to mind, kind of, because it's a year end recap, if you will. And there are things that I want to discuss. So there's topics, but there's not just one topic. And so I figured that I'll just name this like the year end podcast, and we'll just see who jumps on to watch or to view or listen or whatever. Sorry, had to take a drink of water because I ate dinner right before this, and I'm realizing that that might have not been the best choice because now I feel like I need to clear my throat, which is never good while you're doing something that you're recording. But okay, so let's see. Beginning of the year, I felt overwhelmed. I felt annoyed. I felt so many things. I considered quitting my job a multitude of times. I um I just and I've said it on here before, my 9 to 5 is not my dream job, and it's not that it's a bad job, it's not a bad job. It's just not as fulfilling as I would like my life to be, I guess is the best way to say it. And so I struggle through that every now and then. I go kind of through ebbs and flows with those feelings because I have a strong desire in my heart that I want to help people. And that can mean a lot of different things. And um it my job could very well be in that category, but my area in my company doesn't doesn't play into that as much as I would like it to. I don't know how to describe that otherwise. But there are days where I do feel like I'm actually helping people and I'm being productive and I'm serving a purpose. So it's not that's why I say it ebbs and flows because some days I feel like I am actually doing what I want, or I'm playing in that realm of being able to help people, but it's not consistent. And part of that is because when you want to help people, you have to deal with people. And the problem with dealing with people sometimes is those people may say that they want help, or they may claim that they need this, you know, opportunity, if you will. But things that I've learned in leadership, and I used to tell people a lot, is I can't want it more than you. And that goes with my coaching business. When I, sit down one on one with people and we set goals and we work towards meeting those goals and how to achieve what they're wanting, it it goes back to I can't want it more than you because I can't do the work for you. You really have to want it, and you have to be able to see that these steps are going to get you to where you want to go. And then the question becomes, do you really want it? Because some people really don't want to work. Some people I'm going to sound like a true Gen Xer, and I am. It, there's a lot of entitled people around nowadays. A lot of adults think that they're entitled and that they shouldn't have to work for things, and things that should just be handed to them. And I'm here to burst that bubble. Not sure what your parents told you when you were growing up or whoever raised you, but that's a crock of crap. And you have to work for everything that you are going to get in life. And how badly you want something will decide how badly you choose to work for it. And that is one of the things that can be extremely frustrating in my coaching business. The whole purpose of me coaching people is to try to help people. And, my actual 9 to 5 job is to also try to help people. And yet, it's the same struggles. The difference is my coaching business, you pay for my ability to help you. And that usually brings in people that actually have a desire to do the work. Not always, but usually most of the time. Whereas my 9 to 5 job, they do not pay me. My job pays me, but the people that want the help, that need the help that we are helping, those people do not pay me. So therefore, it takes um, some of that desire and that real need to do things away, which is, you know, I mean, work ethic, right? It's you either have it or you don't. And I don't think that it's something that, I don't want to say it can't be taught later in life, but it's much, much more difficult to teach later on in life. It's kind of that old cliche of teaching a dog new tricks. Doesn't work very well. Don't get me wrong. There's always an exception to the rule, but uh, there's some things that just have to be taught to children and people growing up that it's a lot harder to learn as an adult. And speaking even from a trauma standpoint, that, you know, learning to deal with things and how to react to things, or learning how to change your mindset or reframe the narrative that you have going on in your mind. Some of those things, there are ways to teach those things, not necessarily in that exact verbiage when you're teaching children as they grow up, but in a softer verbiage there, it's there. It's kind of like I've said in other episodes that, we need to go back to teaching that failure is not a bad thing, because failure leads to success. Now, that doesn't mean that you go out and you strive to fail. That's definitely not what I'm trying to say. But, you know, Sarah Blakely, I believe, the founder of Spanx, if I remember correctly, it was her family, but there could have been somebody else. I may be mistaken, but they would go around the table at dinner every night and say, "What did you fail at today?" And it was not a shameful time where, they would say, "Oh, I failed my quiz today," or, whatever else that, kids would say as a failure. I tried to do this science fair project, and, it didn't work. It failed. And instead of the whole purpose of sitting around the table and doing that being to shame you because you failed. "Oh my gosh, you're a horrible person. I can't believe you did that. You suck at life. You're horrible. You're so stupid, blah, blah, blah." All the things that you should never say. It's okay. So this didn't work. What are your next steps? How do we turn this failure into a success? And I've said this on episodes before that, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and all of these people that have created things that they've made millions and billions of dollars from, they didn't just come out one day and just have this miraculous, perfect thing that worked. It's not how life is, you guys. And I say that because some people unfortunately, have this belief that you should just be a success. You should just excel from the get-go. It doesn't work that way, and I hate that anybody believes that, because that's setting up people for failure. Like that's not, it's not a positive setup for failure. That's setting people up for hurt, for pain, for struggles, to, ultimately end up quitting, because that's not the view that we should have about failure. Again, not saying that that's where we should stay, saying that that is what we should use as our stepping blocks towards success. You have to learn what doesn't work to know what does, right? And that's something that I've done this year, that, trial and error with people, if you will, um, that, some things don't, let me put it this way. One goal for three people, okay, if it's the same goal, is not going to be achieved the same way for each one of those people. Understanding kind of like how we learn, right? Some people learn, they can read something, got it, good, we're sweet, moving on. Some people need to hear it, and some people need hands on. Well, we learn and we achieve in similar fashion. And that's why I say, if there's one goal amongst three people, they're not all going to achieve it the same way. Now, two may achieve it with the exact same steps, and they may do beautifully. Fantastic, success, awesome. And the third person is not going to learn the same way. Maybe they need somebody that is by their side on a step by step basis, if you will, to say, this is how we achieve this goal. Here's the process. Some people don't need a step by step hand holding situation. Some people just need to be told, okay, this is the goal. Here's the outline of your steps, or your process. And then they run with it. And they're like, oh, sweet, got it. And then they come back in, a week, 2 weeks, a month, and say, Tiffany, I did all those things. This is how it progressed. These are the things that I loved about it. This is what I didn't love about it. So the next time we set a goal, if we could not do X, Y, and Z, but we could focus on A, B, and C, that would be spectacular, which is great, because especially as a coach, I want to be able to help you to the best of your ability, but it's a two-way street. I can't just guess on how you're going to succeed. You have to give me something. I know for me personally, I'm a hands-on person. I want to do it so I can see it and physically capable of doing it side by side. But if I just read it, I don't visualize it as well. Like I can, but it doesn't have the same effect as me standing there watching somebody do it and then doing it myself, right? Now, other people, they absolutely cannot work that way. They need to visualize it. They need to have that, um, they need to read the steps and then think about it in their mind and go, okay, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. Okay, I can totally see it. Okay. And then they move forward. So understand, we all do that almost on a daily basis. I firmly believe that if you're not learning something every day, you've wasted your day. And I don't say that to be harsh or to impart, my opinions on anybody else. That's how I was raised. My dad always said, if you don't learn something new every day, then you've wasted your day. And it doesn't have to be something like scientific. It doesn't have to be, rocket science. It doesn't have to be out of this world, you guys. It can be something very simple. It could be, something, trying to think of something small. um, I've been doing so much research over the last few days that my mind keeps going to that stuff. And that stuff is a rabbit hole that I don't want to impart on anybody else, because, oh my gosh, it's atrocious. But nonetheless, so let's say it's something as simple as learning. Oh, I'm literally looking around trying to find something that's going to spark my imagination. Um, mhm. Maybe it's just simply learning a new process of how to download something. I don't know. I'm so struggling right now. It's something small, but it could be anything, right? It could be, oh hey, I didn't realize that if I didn't close my door all the way, my front door, that when I hit my app to lock it, because I have a little app for that, it's not cool. It's kind of annoying actually, because my door is not perfectly set. Nonetheless, as I've learned, if my door is not perfectly closed, if I hit the button on my app to lock my door, it will not lock and it will continually make this noise that is rather rather annoying. Um, but the other side of it is, I have a perfect example. Okay, it's not small, but it's a perfect example. It kind of threw me off when it threw me off, but it didn't throw me off because it made sense once it was explained. So there's this whole argument about unicorns. Okay, you never expected me to go there, right? Okay, unicorns. I was brought up believing it's a mythical creature. It is a horse with a horn sticking out of its head. Okay. That is not what a unicorn is. You guys, oh my goodness. Okay. There are two types of, I don't even know what to call them. I'd have to look it back up. Dang it. Anyways, there are rhinoceros and then there are, starts with an M. Dang it. Anyway, a rhinoceros is a unicorn. I'm just going to throw it out there. Here we go. Okay. In the Latin, and I may butcher this, but nonetheless, in the Latin, it's like rhinoceros, rhinos. I feel like it's not just rhinoceros. It may be something else, but no, let's just go with it. Rhinoceros unicornus from the Latin. Did you get it? Okay. Unicorn. It is a unicorn. It is not the mythical creature unicorn, but it is a unicorn. So where did this stem from? Well, because in the Bible, it talks about a unicorn. And then I went down a rabbit hole and people were debating that the Bible wasn't true because it referenced unicorns and unicorns are not real. Well, prior to 17th century, I believe it was, when the Bible was updated to the translated English version, that it changed to, well, it didn't change. It was stated in there unicorn. Okay, well, prior to the 17th century, I believe, and by all means, feel free to fact check me because I don't remember things perfectly. But that is what was referred to, especially in, let's say, 700 BC or 700 AD. And yes, I still use those because that's my life. But in that time frame, a unicorn was a single horned rhinoceros. Look, I'm telling you guys this because I think it's actually fascinating. Y'all may be sitting there going, why is she talking about a unicorn? Well, if nothing else, you learned something today, okay? You learned that a unicorn is actually originally a rhinoceros with one horn, not the mythical creature of a horse with a horn spiral thing coming out of its head. So, nonetheless, that is something that I learned. I love it. I have clearly not forgotten it. I have also been studying like about the North Sea and how treacherous it is and why. And because the currents come in from oh, I got to picture it now. Anyways, the currents come in and they do not get along. That is a very, very simplistic way of describing it. Forgive me, you guys. Oh my gosh. I clearly should have been doing this when I was more awake and earlier in the day. Nonetheless. And then I've also been going down rabbit holes about secret societies and founding fathers and the Knights Templar, and I mean it continues and it continues. But my point is, I really do enjoy doing research. I really do enjoy learning something new, and it could be a plethora of different things. I mean, my gosh, I just went from, a rhinoceros being the unicorn that, nobody thinks of nowadays, to the Knights Templar, and those don't correlate. So, you don't have to learn, you don't even have to learn history, right? Like, I love history. Well, I'm enjoying it a lot more now that I'm not in school, at least. But, it could be something about animals. It could be, you know, something about whatever you personally enjoy studying. I also enjoy studying organized crime and the mob bosses. I think that it's the whole creation of organized crime and mobsters and mob families and the mafioso, and anyways, all of that stuff I find intriguing. I find serial killers intriguing, not like just never mind. We're not going to go into detail. It's not really important. I have a plethora of things that I enjoy researching. And I say that because you can learn all kinds of different things. It's not like you have to go and learn. I mean, my gosh, if I turn around and I look at my books, you guys, it goes from Tony Robbins trying to teach me how to be a better human, and then it goes to the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and then I have a serial killer book, Mindhunter. And then let's see, I've got The Love Dare. I've got Killers of the Flower Moon, which if you haven't read that, that is absolutely, it's sad. It's all true. But it's fascinating and horribly infuriating all at the same time. But I have a plethora of different styles of books. I have The Richest Man in Babylon and Rich Dad Poor Dad. So finance, self-help, serial killers, leadership. My books are, I mean, they're as varied as my interests are, and yours could be the same way. And then let's see, the rest of my year. I would say that the summer the summer was when I was happy, but I wasn't happy, if you will. Um, and I say that because there were things that I was doing, experiencing during the summer that I was happy about. And then there were other things, kind of those same things, but they speak to my soul. And, it's kind of like experiencing something that you think is going to make you happy. And then when you get it, you're like, oh, this wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't that what I was doing this summer wasn't awesome. I really enjoyed it. But ultimately, what I wanted was not what was being given to me. That's the best I can do without going into detail. And what I appreciate from that is that it led to where I am now. And I can't believe I'm actually 23 minutes into this and I'm just now getting to this. But where I am now is happy. Not about a job, not about personal life, just I'm back to where I was approximately, I don't know. Let's see. When did I go off the deep end? It's a horrible thing. Okay, let's just say, so after my dad passed away and 3 days later my husband wanted a divorce and my entire world crumbled. After that, well, and by after that, I mean like a few months later where I was actually capable of thinking and understanding what was happening, because I was in such a fog. Like, I still can't to this day tell you, outside of when that happened in the second week of February of 2010 until about May, June. I don't know what happened in those other months. I was so broken and shattered and in such horrible grief that I don't remember those next few months. I remember wanting to die. I remember not wanting to be here. I wanted the pain to stop. I wanted my dad back. I wanted to be with my dad. Um, I thought I wanted my husband at the time back, but it was a horrible time. It was a horrible time. And then I got very, very heavy back into church. I'd never really left church, but because I was in so much pain and I was so broken, I had just I jumped in with both of my feet. Actually, I jumped in head first, not even both feet, like head first, like full on. I needed I needed my faith to sustain me because I was not capable of living on my own. There's a part where Elijah tells God, "I want to die," and that's how I felt. I wanted to die. It wasn't a statement. It wasn't, oh, it's a bad day. It was, I did not want to live anymore. And I needed, if I was going to survive and not make that choice, I had to get back into church like my life depended on it because it did. And I had such an amazing Bible study group that I still keep in touch with, even though I've left Wyoming, because they're awesome and they were with me through the worst time of my life. That thank you just does not cut it. And I did really well for a while. And then, and then I got comfortable and I got lazy and I still attended church, but it wasn't with the same fire in my soul. And then 2020 hit, and this isn't about COVID. I don't give two craps about COVID. Then I lost a job that I really enjoyed over some bull crap, but nonetheless. um and I I just kind of I was in a difficult spot in the sense that I wanted to start my own business and I wanted to figure out a way to be happy. I wanted to live the life that people talk about where if you find something that you love and you can make money at it, then you never work a day in your life. And that was my mission. But to do that, I knew that I needed to do a lot of work on myself. A lot of work on myself. That's why I have like 4 Tony Robbins books behind me, not to include um, all of the training, all the hours that I went through with Tony Robbins coaching school, I guess is the way you say it. But I did so much work. Mind you, okay, so when I lost my job, I decided that the smart thing to do, which I don't recommend this, you guys. I don't I don't regret it, but you really have to be in the right place to do it. So what I did was I put my house up on the market. It sold in like 2 days. I literally had 3 weeks to figure out where I was going. And I sold everything except for the few things that I needed and my dogs. Didn't sell them. And I moved into a friend's shed. That is not an exaggeration. I moved into a friend's shed in her backyard 3 weeks later because I was determined that I did not need a big house. I didn't need a fancy corporate job. All I needed was a bed, 4 walls, a place to be able to eat and bathe, and I could make what I wanted work. And so I did a lot of work on myself, and I'm forever grateful for everything that I've learned through Tony Robbins, the self-realizations, um the getting rid of my anger. I had so much anger. I cannot even describe, you guys, from from all of the abuse that I'd been through, from losing 2 jobs that I truly loved, and I mean, just from life. I let life win to a point. I was still extremely mad about losing my dad and how my husband acted at the time. I was just so mad, and I had so much work that needed to be done, and I had so much anger that I had to work through and get rid of to be able, because I wanted to be able to help other people, but if I can't help myself, if I can't learn the tools, if I can't utilize the tools and say that they work, then how am I ever going to help anybody else, right? And so I went through the whole process of learning from Tony and implementing what he was training us to do on myself. And I can remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and I mean, he may or may not remember it, but I remember telling him, I'm happy. Like I could just feel the anger was gone. It was just so different. And I felt lighter. I clearly didn't lose weight, but I felt lighter from not holding on to all of that, and it's been beautiful. However, I fell off for a little while. There was something that happened that I let rock me more than I should have, and then I allowed those circumstances to play a bigger role than I should have going forward from when it happened. But now, um, this year has been so mm, so much a growing period, if you will. This is my sowing season. That's the best way to say it. I'm ready to walk in to my reaping season, because and I take that breath because I needed it. I needed to just exhale. And I know that's a movie and it's a great movie. But so after summer, don't you love when I don't have one specific topic and I go 15 different places? After summer, or at the end of summer, I guess I should say, end of August, beginning of September, things changed, and wonderfully. And I have been back on a path that makes me happy. It makes my heart happy. It makes my soul happy. I feel like I'm a better person for others and to myself. And I've gotten back into my faith, and I understand that I have listeners that don't believe the way that I do, and that's fine. I have no intentions of ever pushing my beliefs on anybody. I just tell you my experiences. You can listen, you cannot listen. It's absolutely your choice. Um, but but I will tell you that oh, it feels so good to do that. I know that probably sounds weird, but it's just, let me tell you, something that I've learned this year in my faith over any other year in my faith, and I probably realized this after my dad passed away when I got, I mean, full on into church, but I don't think, okay, I got full on into church as in I got involved, and I got into a Bible study, and I was consistently going, and I was volunteering, and I was involved. But I didn't study and or read the Bible and scriptures the way I feel like I should have. Whereas now I have and I will give credit to a friend of mine that it is actually because of him, I would say, not that I've gotten back into my faith, but because I actually consistently have been reading scripture every single day. And one of the things I have learned is that if you there's going to church, and then there's reading scripture, excuse me, and then there's living out what your faith is, right? So what I've learned is that, let me see, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this because I don't think that I have it right in my head right now. Oh, you you get more out of it, and by it I mean your faith and your belief. You get more out of it when you read your Bible at least 3 to 4 times a week. If I remember correctly, I think that was what the statistic was. Is that's when you start to see more of a change because you're more in the word. And so ever since I heard that, I have been intentionally in the word every single day. Not because, I'm special, partly because I'm an overachiever. Because that's just, I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do it this many times. Let me do it this many times instead. That's my crazy butt. Um, so I will say that I feel it. I feel that difference of being in the word, and not in the sense of, oh, okay, let me just rush through and read the scripture for today, but actually listening and learning and paying attention to the story that I'm going through. And so I've appreciated that and I've enjoyed that. And it's actually been even more enjoyable to have conversations about it with, friends of mine, to be able to sit there and say, hey, so did you see the verse of the day today on the U version app? Oh yeah, this person who did it, I just love the way they broke it down. And it was, it's I enjoy having those conversations. I enjoy being able to have those conversations. And I think that that has led to a better end of my year than had I just made sure that I was going to church on Sunday, possibly reading some scripture throughout the week and just going about everything else. Because as I've stated before, the holidays can be a very, very difficult time for me. And it usually happens right before Thanksgiving. And I can usually stay pretty depressed through the end of the year. If if I try hard enough, that's not what I mean. But naturally, I would just focus so much on my dad and missing him and him not being here. And I would let that just consume me, and I wasn't able to do that this year, and I say that proudly because I've done that for, oh my gosh, the last 12 years, you guys, and I'm happy that I can go through this holiday season and not be, curled up in my bed or curled up on the couch and just, you know, watching TV until I fall asleep. Because I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be around people, or I don't, I want to be numb. And so I'm so thankful for that. And again, I'm absolutely not trying to say, hey, this is what you should do. I'm saying this is my year. This is what I've gone through this year. This is my experience, and you can take it, leave it, throw it away. I don't care. You can do whatever you want to with it. I don't mean that in a bad way. I want people to understand when I share how my faith affects me, it's not because I'm pushing it on you. I'm just simply saying, this is how this has worked for me. And so this year has been a turning point for me, and I'm grateful for it. I look forward to what it brings. I'm excited about the hope in my heart to be able to help more people and what that means, and the possibility of, growing my business, expanding my business, and being able to help more people, to live a happy life, to accomplish the goals that they want to become leaders in their field, and to be able to help people in the way that they want to help people. I think that's huge. I think that, Tony Robbins talks about all the things that we need in life to enjoy our life. And one of them is growing and being fulfilled. Well, to be fulfilled, you have to not just be focused on yourself. You have to figure out what makes you happy. And for me, it's helping other people. And to be able to help other people is the byproduct is me feeling like I'm fulfilled. And I hope that makes sense. But ultimately, I want you guys to have gotten something out of your year. So maybe reflect, maybe think about, you know, how the beginning of your year started, the good and the bad, and then the middle of the year, the good and the bad, and then moving into the end of the year, the good and the bad. And where do you feel now? Do you feel like you have more good, that you're taking the good and moving into the new year with positivity and hope, or are you not there yet? That's also a possibility. Do you need somebody to talk to? Do you need tools and resources to be able to get out of the funk that you may be in? All of these are things that are worth thinking about. And I truly pray that everyone that listens to this or is watching this is getting something from it that can positively impact their life and make things better, because I don't want to negatively impact people's lives. I do want to make a positive impact, and that could be a plethora of different things. It could be, something small about reading a book. It could be something bigger about introducing somebody to faith. It could be something somewhere in the middle that, hey, learning something new every day is a good idea. Let me start with that. That can be it. Either way, I truly pray as we go into this new year that we go in with hope and with positivity, and that, we create our own goals and vision board, if you will. If, physically you can create one, or in your mind, or you can just write down, these are the goals that I have for the next month, or the whole year, or the next week, whatever is doable for you, because the whole purpose of setting a goal is so that that you have something to attain, but it's not so far fetched that it's it's not realistic. You don't want to set yourself up for failure like that. I don't think that's fair to you. And the whole purpose of me doing this is so that I can teach you ways to be happy and to have a better life, whether it's being more productive, or, meeting goals, or just being happy, whatever that may mean. So, you want them to be realistic. Start there. I pray you guys got something out of this. I hope that you have a wonderful evening or day, whatever time it may be for you, and that you finish this last week of the year spectacularly. Go and be blessed. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.